As FDR gets bills like Glass-Steagall through the Congress, what we're going to see happen are a series of acts in this first New Deal that will target some of the big problems that we've seen. Remember, some of those big problems that we talked about were unemployment, foreclosure, where people were losing their houses and their farms, bread lines, people starving, not having any of that money that they need to survive. So as we go through these next few slides, understand that Roosevelt in the first New Deal is taking action here to systematically confront these problems and then remove them, to find ways to put people back to work so that they have the money they need for food, so that they have the money they need to keep their houses and their farms. A good example of that, at least to start, is going to be the Homeowners Loan Corporation. We know that a lot of people were losing their homes. So with this law in the first New Deal, FDR says, let's take a look at cities like New York City. Here's Manhattan Island. And let's look at the different neighborhoods in Manhattan Island. If a neighborhood is really risky, we can see that here in red. This is a neighborhood where people are at danger of losing their homes, economically impoverished areas where people aren't making the most money, where people aren't getting jobs, where people are in danger of starving and losing their homes. In blue are the neighborhoods that people are okay, they're just fine. In green, it's kind of okay, kind of not. At yellow, it's at risk of becoming a red neighborhood. This allows the federal government with the Homeowners Loan Corporation to say, you know what? You're at danger of risking and losing your home in the yellow, in the red, in the green, and we're going to extend the time you need to pay your loans back. We're going to lower your interest rates since you're unemployed, so that instead of you racking up those bills and us taking your house, we're going to give you more time to pay that off without taking your house. And we're going to lower the amount of money you have to pay back by lowering interest rates. And this will allow some people to keep their homes. That's one of the issues of the Great Depression. Another we know is the Farm Credit Administration, where in the Dust Bowl, farmers were losing their farms because of drought, being unable to sell their products. So the Farm Credit Administration is going to do the exact same thing as homeowners loan, but for farms. We're going to let farmers refinance their mortgages so that they can lower their payments and pay it back over time, and they're going to be able to avoid foreclosure and keep their farms. At the same time, we know that farmers are having a really tough time selling their crops because supply is so high. Remember, one of the things that we saw farmers doing that we talked about in Chapter 9 was actually destroying their crops to try and lower supply so that price would be raised on what was remaining. To counteract this and to help this, what you'll see will be the government putting into play the Agricultural Adjustment Administration. This is going to actually pay farmers to produce less food. That way, less food comes to market. This way, price should rise over time. There is a problem. African Americans are going to be kicked off this land because in the South, sharecroppers, right, a lot of sharecroppers are there. The farm owners are going to keep that money and they're going to say, sorry, sharecropper, I don't need you. They're kicked off their land. So it does have an unintended consequence. But it does slowly raise the price of food and help farmers make some profit. Lastly, how do we help workers keep their jobs? How do we help workers get that money in their pockets to keep their houses? Roosevelt is going to turn to unions. He and his supporters of the New Deal think that unions should be able to negotiate for higher wages for workers. More money in my pocket, if I can negotiate a higher wage, means more money for me to spend. And all of these things are designed to help Americans counteract those problems of the Great Depression.